Yes. 11:21, and I got my laundry done. Yeah. And I have about a half an hour before I'm going to leave. Now, I just thought we should look. Yes. There's approximately, well, an actual number. 4 days, 2 hours, 37 minutes, 49 seconds. You're gonna make me go to court. Yeah. Because, you, you're going to be insane. hmm Now, insanity, such a total lack of reason, memory, and intelligence, yes, as prevents a person from understanding the nature and consequences of his or her acts. Now, we were talking about the possibility of those in office, yeah, where they think that they cannot be held liable for what they have sworn. The subscriber cannot be held liable for the witnessing of the sworn oath of office. But there are certain rights, threefold rights of property, possession, and impossibility. Now, I noticed that the oath of office has the "so help me God." Yes. And it ought to have this sense that the deity be invoked. Yeah. Now, in every swearing in, I know it only takes you a few minutes, and it's something where you get pictures and you invite your family. And the thought is, well, I've gotten sworn into office, and I will support and defend the Constitution. Yes. Against enemies, foreign and domestic. But then we have the insanity of those in law enforcement that don't like the possibility of getting sued. Yes. Now, domestic enemies. Well, let's look at the possibilities. You have the actual evidence that I wasn't in Brennan, Washington. Yeah. You have the evidence of a fraudulent protection order. You have the evidence of a fraudulent dissolution of marriage where there was no notice or opportunity, no proof of service, and no valid marriage license from any state of the United States. Now, there is the real possibility of getting sued and possibly doing some prison time. Now, let's talk about what is insane, these possibilities. Right. I tell you that I wasn't in that city, and you decide that you would not have any understanding of the nature of the consequences of your act of refusing to admit the evidence. I wasn't in Sequim, Washington. Right. I wasn't at court hearings because there was no proof of service. Yes. You had court hearings where the petitioner wasn't there because there is no signature. Yeah. You had court hearings where there's a forgery of the ex officio superior court clerk. Yes. And it's absolutely insane that you refuse to remove your court orders. Now, distinguishing between right and wrong conduct, yes, or from being able to refrain, yeah, from doing what he or she knows to be wrong. Do you understand that it's wrong, right, to not enforce the laws of the United States? Now, I did have a little look at the prosecutor's guide to domestic violence. Yeah. And domestic violence is a pattern of behavior that one person in a relationship uses to gain power and control over their current or former spouse, intimate partner, girl or boyfriend, yes, or family household member, or it could be defined as domestic violence is a pattern of behaviors that one judge, yeah, one court commissioner, one sheriff, one police chief, that is in a relationship with the citizens uses to gain power and control. Now, it's two different contexts of the actual words domestic violence. You want to gain power and control over myself, my family, and the rights of my family, and you use domestic violence to do that. Now, these domestic enemies that you said you would support and defend the Constitution against, yes. This relationship between citizen, law enforcement, oath, attorney, and mandatory reporters. Yeah. Where you gain power and control over a citizen, where you have the actual evidence that the citizen didn't commit a crime. Yeah. And then you continue the violence in a broad category of behaviors ranging from something as trivial. Yes. Yes, yes. To lethal, as in, you want to kill me. Oh. Now, these trivial emails, yeah, that you said I was stupid to continue sending, but it is my lawful right to inform law enforcement, oaths of office, yes, attorneys, judges, and justices, mandatory reporters, child protective services, foreign nations that have treaty obligations. You will find that 85 to 90% of the email addresses, there's an actual liability for not doing what you have sworn. Now you have gained power and control over myself, my family, Marilyn and her family, right, because of your behavior that seems to range from being trivial to lethal. Yes. Now, it might seem trivial to you that you sent my court notices to the address where Mike Van Proyn had turned the electricity off on me in the middle of winter. Yes. Had kept all my personal items. Yes. Had responded to my text message that if I contact Mike or Marilyn, the authorities that have gained power and control would arrest me for harassment, trespassing, and numerous other available crimes for those that allege that I'm the insane American citizen. And then I provide what seems trivial, yes, an actual photograph of Susan Bowers holding Legina, yes, that says that it's Marilyn Van Proyn when it's not, yes, and you thought it was trivial to impersonate an actual American citizen. Now, these gaining power and control over the lives of citizens, yes, their children, yes, and what could be considered a future intimate partner, yeah. This behavior might seem trivial to those in law enforcement, but it looks like it's lethal right now. Inflicted mostly upon women, but there is the possibility of men experiencing domestic violence. Oh, now domestic violence is one of the most prevalent and serious crimes handled by prosecutors across the country. As one of the most prevalent and serious of crimes that prosecuting attorneys have handled across this whole nation. Yes, let's say you're trying me for domestic violence. When you have the evidence I wasn't in Brennan, yes. And you actually have copies of every email I've sent for the last 18 months. Yeah, more than likely 2 years. Yes. And you seem to think that this prevalent and serious of crimes that are being handled by prosecutors